City Current. Produced by Dakota Media Access. In-depth discussion with Bismarck and Mandan city officials. Watch on Government Access Channel 602 HD or tune in to Radio Access 102.5 FM. Always local, always current.
Coming up on this edition of City Current, we'll hear an update on the state of the cities, tell you where and when that'll take place, and a report from the Bismarck Mandan Chamber EDC on some upcoming activities and strategic plan looking forward, and a stormwater rewrite for the city of Mandan. Good morning, I'm Tom Gerhardt from Dakota Media Access, joined by Mandan City Administrator Jim Neubauer. Jim, thanks for trekking across the river this morning.
Thanks, Tom. A little windy, I think the snow has stopped for now. I'm sure we've got more coming on the way. But again, winter's has
here.
finally arrived.
Now we're supposed to get that brutal cold, I think, supposedly. So a lot to look forward to.
Winter safety kits in your cars and all that good stuff. Put your boots and your gloves and your hats, and please be safe.
It's been a pretty nice January so far.
Right.
So I guess it had to happen at some time. Well, let's look over last night's Mandan City Commission meeting and just start with some announcements, some interesting topics there. We talked about this last time a little bit, Jim, but the Golden Shovel and Winter Decorating Awards, just an update on that.
Yeah, crazy. I know that the Golden Shovel Award is, I think there are nominations out there right now, and you can still have time till February 1st. I think this has probably been 3 or 4 years we've had this in place, and really the idea of this is to bring attention to folks, folks that are really doing a nice job of clearing their sidewalks, shoveling their snow. We've been fairly fortunate so far this year where snow has been, knock on wood, minimal. Obviously the dusting that we've had the last couple of days, and I think we're expecting some more. But again, making sure and bring attention to clean your sidewalks and so that they are safely traversable by the public, and we think it's just a good thing to do. And those nominations can be submitted until February 1st. And
the website for those listening, cityofmandan.com/winter awards, cityofmandan.com/winter awards to nominate.
Yeah, and you can also see on the website, if you go there, I think we have 4 or 5 businesses that have already been nominated, and so you can look in if the business you thought was doing an awesome job, and they're already nominated. Good for them. If there's someone else that you want to add to that list, we would encourage you to do so. And
last night you clarified this isn't a true gold shovel.
This is not. I actually witnessed
the painting,
the goldening of this shovel in our back garage with a can of spray paint, and it was fine creative work that was done by our former planner Andrew Strami, and I think Gary Schmidt was involved in that too. So, but it does look like real gold. It does not weigh like real gold, unfortunately, at $4,000 an ounce. Whatever it is today.
Whatever it is today.
I wouldn't be sitting here if that's what it was. We'd be having that baby under lock and key. But again, bringing attention to folks to make sure they're cleaning your sidewalks and make them traversable by the public and safe. So again, to bring attention to that activity and encourage folks.
Well, the State of the Cities, where we can hear interactively from both Mayor Schmitz and Mayor Freilich, takes place February 3rd at the Bismarck Event Center, and a couple of topics. I know it's an interactive discussion now instead of both mayors just speaking to crowd.
Yeah, I think the chamber always does a good job of surveying folks after an event, and what did you like, what can we improve on, and things like that. And the result of a fireside chat format with the 2 mayors, Bismarck Mandan, will be presented. There'll be a list of prepared questions for them to respond to, and also I think audiences certainly feel free to ask questions too. There's also a national economist. I think Michael Schumann will be the main speaker at that event, talk about our economy and things like that. But again, chance for Bismarck and Mandan to say, hey, what all happened in 2025 and what do we have going on in 2026? So we're looking forward to February 3rd. That starts at 8 in the morning, goes till 9:30, and you can purchase a ticket through the Bismarck Mandan EDC.
All right, sounds great. A couple of project updates from Mandan. We just wanted to talk about really quickly the Mandan proper project. I know that there was an open house that apparently wasn't super well attended, but they're going to it's going to be another one down the road.
Yep, in part of our public communication plan, the Mandan proper is really the core of our community. If you're listening from Collins Avenue to 6th Avenue, Collins Avenue on the east, 6th Avenue to the west, entirely from about Main Street all the way up to Division. One of our last major infrastructure projects that we need to attack. Not that we don't have one every year that we need to do, but everyone knows streets, curb, gutter, water lines, sewer lines, street lights, things like that are in need of mainly replacement. And so we had a public input meeting last Thursday, lightly attended. We're doing another one, I believe,
24th?
24th of February.
I think that's what it says
Something like
on the graphic there. Is that that's phase 1 on
That's
February
phase
24th.
one
My
yep.
bad.
So we'll do another one for that as we move into finalizing plans. And we do these to try and, before we get to 30% design on a project and we bring it to the commission, let's hear from the neighborhood. They know what issues they're experiencing in that neighborhood much better than we do. But we want to hear, what do you think the fixes are? And we'll go through, here's what we think the project should entail. You tell us where there might be gaps we might be missing, or suggestions on how to do things better.
And always great to give the community a voice.
Yeah, and I think it has really worked out well. The last few times, I think there is a public meeting tonight on, I think we call it 215B, or an area.
Yeah, I have that
water.
project too, a little graphic for that 2B near Roosevelt. Is that
Yep.
right? Yeah.
And again, from 6 to 8 o'clock, we had attempted a project in this a couple of years ago, and residents in the area protested it out, but we've had a significant number of water breaks in this area, and that's why we had proposed it a few years ago. But we're back to the drawing board, and again, we'll go through the process again, because it's very expensive when we are spot fixing either the road or the water line and things like that, and it just needs to be done.
And just in case folks are watching, the graphic says tomorrow, but this is from last night's city commission meeting.
Yep.
So we're recording this on January 21st. So the meeting's actually
It is this evening.
This evening, the
January
21st, from
21st.
6 to 8 at Roosevelt Elementary. Just to make sure we clear that up and not send people out tomorrow night when it's going to be, I think, really
Tomorrow night's going to be a little chillier,
cold.
and I think tonight will be. So there we go.
Well, we mentioned Bismarck Mandan Chamber EDC. We saw a photo of Brenda Nagel interviewing both mayors last year, and Brenda attended the meeting last night and gave an update on what's happening with the Chamber EDC activities, and touched on a strategic plan that they're working or have worked on moving forward.
Think this is my Brenda and her crew come in, I think, twice a year and give updates to the commission, talk about activities that they've been working on. And last night Brenda did that. We're very appreciative of the chamber coming forward and making that presentation to our commission. So a couple of things that they're working on. Obviously, right now, elections are coming up, so they are working on, how do we help cultivate emerging leaders to run for those public offices, and how can the chamber be involved in helping them. A lot of times folks will be interested in running for office, but they're not sure where to start, and the chamber is here to help you go through that process. And another thing that we're working on, and Brenda brought this up last night, is both Bismarck and Mandan have a really need for another park in each community. Trick is, we've been working on that for 20 plus years. I can say that as I remember the days. We won't do that. But again, it's trying to find industrial park space. Bismarck is now filled up in the Northern Plains Commerce Center. Our Northwest Industrial Park is pretty darn full. I don't know if there's any spots available yet. There might be a few here and there, but again, where is that next 200, 300, 400 acres of property that is ready for industries to move into? We filled up that one over the last 25, 30 years, and where's the next step going to be? And we're always looking out and saying, okay, where is it? I think Bismarck has some property that they own on the eastern side of Missouri, and on the western side, the city does not have that luxury of owning property. But it's not that the city would go out and buy this property. Maybe there's a group of investors that would look at purchasing that property and making that available. And from a city standpoint, how do we provide the necessary infrastructure, water, sewer, streets, in order to get them?
And I mean, a new industrial park, I imagine the economic impacts for Bismarck and Mandan, when you get to that point, would be significant.
Yep, because in order to attract business, your community, you have to have a place for them. And again, that's part of what this will do. And first is identifying what property makes sense. Again, I can say we've been doing this for the past 25 years and haven't located that perfect piece, or sometimes here's an awesome piece of property, but the buyer has been unwilling to sell, or they're unwilling to make it available for development. But again, I think sometimes turnover happens, and it's some people will recognize, hey, I have property along I-94 corridor that is just perfect for industrial development. I have changed hands a few times in the last 20 years, and maybe they're ready to make a move now. So again, it's the chamber will lead this effort, and both communities will be participating and setting up different subcommittees to try and attack this issue.
Pretty light agenda last night, but quite a presentation, interaction with Houston Engineering on a project that I think goes back to 2019 with stormwater design and manual and ordinance changes, updates. Recap what we talked about last night, what we heard.
A lot of things happen in stormwater. Some people are, hey, I live on the top of the hill, I don't have a stormwater problem. You probably don't. But water from your driveway and your rooftop is going somewhere, and usually that's downhill, and it's going to affect someone else. And so you do play part of that. And we've been working with Houston, I think, since 2019. We've gone through several iterations and updates on this plan, and last night was kind of, let's bring all that to a head, let's put a nail in this one, and let's get it wrapped up. But again, along with the commission adopting the plan comes the ordinances that need to be adopted, written, and approved by the commission next. So again, a lot of things with stormwater that a lot of people don't think about, but are very important in a community and affect. It's not the person at the bottom of the hill, it's the person at the top of the hill and everybody in between. Make sure that things are done effectively and efficiently.
Yeah, we notice it here. We're just south of Main Street in Bismarck, and this summer we had a couple of storms that just the water on Main Street was seeping into some businesses here. So you really get an idea of how much water does come downhill. If you can actually, of course, you see it in Bismarck and the underpasses fill up and things.
Bismarck water. Underpasses fill up. Mandan, a lot of times First Street fill up. It used to be that 6th Avenue running into Main Street. I remember the days in the 70s when during a significant rainstorm you could put a canoe and go down. But now there's a roughly, I think it's a 72-inch or 60-inch stormwater pipe under 6th Avenue, and you don't notice that today. But then again, that water needs to go somewhere. Yeah. And making sure that it's going to the right places and at the right time, so you're not overwhelming your systems. We look at that as far as even Memorial Highway on the reconstruction. Folks will notice that the driving surface right now is 2 feet lower than the original. Right. And part of that, a big part of that is stormwater. And a big part of that road construction is moving. The quicker you can get that water off of your parking lots and off of your driveways and off of your streets, the longer of a life those assets will have. Yeah. So it's not for nothing. It's significant. Bismarck, Mandan, we're not getting rain every single day. We have seen when we have downpours what can happen to that infrastructure when it gets overwhelmed.
And I remember one of the city commission meetings hearing that the primary culprit for eating up roadways and things like that isn't traffic, it's weather.
Yes, it is. In North Dakota, obviously, we have the wonderful change of seasons, the freeze-thaw cycle and things like that in your roadways. While technology's gotten better, that freeze-thaw cycle, you can pour a new concrete slab today, and within a month it will have a crack in it, because concrete will do one thing for sure, and it will crack. And cracking in the right place, you're okay. But again, the freeze-thaw cycle in North Dakota, sunshine and everything like that really do a number on your roadways.
Well, geez, we've seen it this month with close to 50 degrees a few days, and probably 20 below in a couple of days from now.
A lot of that is again, we talk about freeze-thaw, but we're in 54-degree weather one week, and we're in 14 below the next week. Yeah. And so you've got water that is now trapped,
expanding, contracting
in that asphalt, and it's busting out every pothole that you fixed. And you come back now, and within an hour, all that material is gone, And so that is the nature of the beast that we live in, and but it's significant.
We mentioned this last time, probably worth mentioning again because the deadline's April 1st, but the 2026 primary residence credit,
Right.
people can fill that out and make sure that they have a reduction in their primary property tax
Yeah,
bill.
fill that out, and I think it's 2 or 3 top 5 questions, very simple, and make sure, I think, can't remember what the number one, if it was 76% of the eligible applicants, or if it was 93%, I'm not sure, but a great number of people filled that out. It's primary residence, not commercial or multifamily or things like that. It's primary residence only right now. And I know this is a topic that's being taken up by the legislature as we speak, is a tweak,
right.
a tweak to how that gets computed. But again, it doesn't affect anything that residents have to do now. It's a matter of make sure you go online, you fill that out, it verifies that this is your primary residence. You take advantage of that so that you are in for that $1,600 property tax credit.
Well, let's dream ahead to that April
Yes.
1st time period and talk about Memorial Highway, because before we know it, things will be back in action and
Right.
construction will continue.
Yeah, so obviously Memorial Highway we didn't get everything done that we had hoped to get done in the later months of 2025. We had hoped to have 5 lanes of concrete from, in essence, midway lanes going to the east. That construction, in meetings with DOT, they're already planning and the contractor's on board, and the contractor would like to start, March 31st, April 1st, weather dependent, and get the underground completed on the north side of Memorial Highway. And they do have a July 3rd is the optimistic date from the contractor to be done, and I think July 9th is everything should be done on the east half of Memorial Highway. You'll also see there's a lot of equipment on the west half right now that are taking some vegetation, some trees down, making way for storm sewer, again, like we talked about earlier, and they can do some of that work right now and get prepped up. So that work on the west side, a lot of that will be what we call off the main line. So there's a lot of stormwater work that needs to happen to make this project go on the west hand side. And then I think after July 9th, they will start some work on the main line, work kind of from Main Street going east. So again, that'll be another project, and we want to make sure from a traveling public standpoint, we don't have the east end of Main Street blocked up, and we don't have the west end of Main Street blocked up and under construction at the same time. So there's a lot of coordination that goes on that. I'm working on some public input meetings at this point in time. So stay tuned and look forward to hearing what, as project schedules get nailed down a little firmer on what to expect here in the next few months.
Yeah, we'll keep you posted through our coverage of Mandan City Commission meetings and recapping on City Current. Well, thanks for joining us, Jim. Just another reminder that you can find us on dakotamediaaccess.org. We're also download our apps. We have a DMA app where you can find government access and community access channels, and our radio access app to listen to a number of local musicians and also folks creating local podcasts. So we'd appreciate it if you download those apps, and even, as it says, if you can read the screen, you can even find us on smart TVs through various ways. So again, thanks for joining me, Jim. That concludes another edition of City Current. See you next time.
For more information on what was discussed in this episode of City Current, visit cityofmandan.com or call 701-667-3215. If you have any suggestions, comments, or issues you would like addressed in future City Current episodes, contact us at info@freetv.org. This program airs on Government Access Channel 2 and 602 in HD, or on Radio Access 102.5 FM. It's also available as a podcast on radioaccess.org and as a video viewing link at freetv.org. Thanks for tuning in to this edition of City Current.